How's it going there, friends? We are out here today combining our organic Hulless oats. I'll give you a walkthrough. So I was checking my combine settings. I also want to do a purge, which means I want to run a little bit of grain through the combine, and because there was our organic turkey red oats, organic turkey red wheat that we combined, and it's almost impossible to get every little kernel out of the combine. So what you do is you blow it out with the leaf blower as much as you can and run it, and then before you dump into a gravity wagon that you want to keep for clean grain to market, you do a pass like so. One, to check your combine settings to make sure it's threshing correctly, and then also to get a little bit in the grain tank to run through the whole system and then dump it into a wagon. It's called a purge. So we purge between crops so we don't have contamination of one crop and another crop. So what I'm doing here is I ran the combine in this section, one pass, and I did the headland down there, 2 passes. I was checking the settings, which I'm glad I did, because I decided to increase my cylinder speed and to tighten up some of my sieves in the back to get a better grain sample, because it was pushing through some oats that still had holes on them, and this variety should free thresh 99% of the holes, which is what you see here, these little fibrous things that cover the plant up. It should thresh the wheat berry, or the oat groat. Sorry, I got wheat and oats mixed up in my mind here. Oat groat out of the hole. So I have our old 44 here and a little gravity wagon for a purge. I'm checking the moisture to make sure our moisture is adequate so we can start to harvest and dry this down. And then we'll continue to combine. I already went ahead and unloaded what I had cut into this wagon, like so. Not a lot, just enough. And we'll go ahead and check the moisture on that. So we unscrew the lid and put a little sample in there and run it. So we're at 14.5% moisture, which is good. I try to keep it below 15 when I go to harvest it. And what we'll do is we'll harvest the rest of these fields. I'll dump it into that wagon there, and then I will screw in a aerator into that to pull air through it to continue to let it dry, because small grains are known to sweat right after harvest. So the moisture will increase because all the grain kernels are all packed together and they're all hot from being out in the sun here today. And we will run air through it for, a few days to a week, if not longer, just depending, to get this down to 12% moisture. So here we go. We're going to keep on keeping on. And this oat straw is really pretty. It's too bad I sold my baler. Could definitely bale this up, but I just got to call it sometimes when I get too many ideas in my head. I need to check myself, focus on one thing at a time. And what I needed to focus on was getting good grain. And that's what our mission is. So unless I start working with another farmer to bale straw, I'm not going to have straw available for the foreseeable future. Just too much for one person. When the cab closed today, you've heard me talk about before, Hulless oats are very itchy. You got a little bit of hair on them after it's threshed, and that little hair is like fiberglass insulation, and man, does it itch like crazy. So I'm keeping the windows closed up on the combine, even though I don't have the AC working yet on this, but 750 is running really good. Putting a good grain sample out. This has been going pretty well. Unfortunately, in this field, I didn't get I decided not to interseed clover in with it yet, because I was worried I was going to end up tine weeding it for weeds. Well, it was so wet this spring, I didn't even hit this with a tine weeder at all, or harrow. I don't really have a tine weeder, just a harrow, tine harrow. So after we're done combining this week, I'm going to rough this up with a disc quick, and then plant a cover crop of clover and buckwheat. Gonna put oats back in there, and maybe some soybeans. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, planning on to do a cover crop here, taking our nitrogen up, because next year I think we're going to do corn here, probably popcorn. Sure is nice cutting a good oat field, man. This is looking really nice. It's been a few years since I had a nice field like this.